Start of a new day at TTHQ. Got a bit of a spanner in the works today. Yesterday, I was getting the new chassis rails prepped up, filled the holes, marked out for drilling, to bolt the spring hangers on. Waiting for some cross members. They're not going to be available till next week sometime. So that's put a bit of a dampener on this project. Just to explain to you all, this is just some of the things that happen in life, in business. It doesn't always go to plan. Now, I was on a roll, I had my game plan of what I was doing on here. So what am I gonna do? So this is the thought process, what I go through. So I had my game plan, always have a game plan what I work to in my head. It can always change afterwards, it's not a problem. You need a plan for a plan to change. So I can continue drilling these, so that's all ready. But where I said yesterday I want to make a ladder frame with the cross members, obviously I don't have the cross members, and the cross members bolt exactly where the spring hangers are in line with that. So them rivets go all the way through into the cross member, hold it all together. Can't really bolt this up and then put them cross members in later. Not them ones, the new ones that's not here yet. So all I can do is get that drilled, prepped, ready. I can then also take all them spring hangers off. That one, and that one. Not looking forward to that because it's not a nice job, as we see yesterday with that one we took off. So I've got a bit I can do to carry on this job, but then also at the same time I'm thinking I have got some little jobs that I want to do anyway. So for instance, the Volkswagen Crafter is what I like to call a big old bus, and when you're sat in that driver's seat, when you're sat in that driver's seat, it's a fair way back, right to the back end of it. So we have got a camera which I put in last week, but I've not put the monitor in yet. So I've got all the cables run, I've got all the power to the camera at the back, all the cables run all the way down the side, and at the minute they're just poked through there. So I've got to strip that out, run the cable around, and I think I might mount the monitor there. However, I haven't got a bracket for a monitor, so I could make one today. First video went live last night, had a awesome response from everyone, really appreciate the support on that, and it has pushed me along to continue with it. So still trying to work it out. I'll get there, together we'll get there, and we'll make it work, because it's quite enjoyable. Yes, walking around with a camera is hard work at times when you're trying to crack on. However, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this, so I don't mind doing it. Also, might give you a little sneak peek of that, what I've done, how I built it. We'll see. That might be another video. I don't want to put too much in, just killing time. I just wanted to keep this because I don't want this hanging around. I was hoping to get this done in a, I don't know, 3-4 episode thing, but it's really thrown a spanner in the works not having a cross member here. Yes, I know this is the cheapest of the cheap, and I didn't realise that it just clips on your rear view mirror. Ew. But all I want is just a screen I can see behind me when I'm backing up, in case something's been put behind the van and I'm unaware of it, I'll be able to see it. So as long as it does that, I am happy with that. For the price, cheap, but it would do. But you get no mount with it because it clips on your mirror, but because I have a van, no rear view mirror. So I'm just going to make my own bracket. So what I'm thinking is, let's take you to the van so I can explain all. See, I'm just getting the hang of actually filming everything I do, rather than going, that wouldn't be interesting, they won't like that, that'd be boring, that'd be boring, that'd be boring. I'll let you decide. Just because I think it may be boring, I have realised that you find it quite enjoyable to see all the ins and outs. So I want to remain true to that and show you as much as I can. So I'm thinking mount it here, so it's behind that bit, so I'm not restricting the view of the windscreen so it won't fail an MOT. I did consider mounting it in there, but it's a bit tricky to show you. Shut the door. So this is level in my eyes. Look out at the mirror, look out at the mirror, but then you've got to lean back and then look right up the top there. However, if you're here, ideally there, so it's in line with your mirror, so as you're looking across you'd see it, but I'm not so keen on it. Oh, am I? I might be keen on it there. That'd be ideal there, so it's in line with your mirrors. That'd be a lot better. So let me see what I can come up with and then I'll come back to you. After careful consideration, I've decided it's got to go up there. If I put it there so it's clear of the stereo, and it's going to put me a new stereo in, so that's all going to have to come off anyway, but it just makes it awkward getting down the back there where I keep my paperwork. So I think up there I'm going to make a bracket up, comes here, and then I shall bolt it through that line of there. Nice. So what have we got an earth on there. I need an earth there, so I've already took the live and brought that over here. So I got the live to it here. I've got the live so it's set up when it's put in reverse it comes on, so I just need an earth at this point. So I've got an earth on that interior light I can pick up on. I might even be able to just actually, if I can press a bit, clip it up behind that, and that'll just sit in there then. And then all you'll see is a couple of bolt heads there. Yeah. And then I'll probably paint it black or something just to try and hide it a bit better. Let's see if I can find a bit of alley in the alley corner. Oh, well, hang on. Yeah, that'll fit in there. That'll clip on there. Cut that there. Probably cut it like that. I think I've just heard Timbo turn up. Possibly, maybe. Who knows? Oh. You don't mind being on camera, do you? You don't mind being on camera, do you?
Mr. Content Creator, I just looked as I parked up and I could see something hanging in the van.
Yes, I'm now making a monitor bracket.
Ah!
Get that done. Beautiful.
I hope you documented it.
Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
Good lad.
I am.
You are a YouTuber now.
Apparently so.
All the comments suggest that they like you. So
yeah,
that's good.
I noticed
So that gives you a little bit of a push to
inspiration.
Drive forward. I bet you couldn't wait to get the camera this morning.
I couldn't.
Well, I'm not going to get in your way. I've just come down to wash my lorry. But I won't interrupt. You just carry on. I'm confused. I feel like I'm filming for the normal channel, but it's not.
No. This is the realistic channel.
Ah, yes, the sensible channel.
Yeah. So I don't want to show too much because there's phone numbers and whatnot on there.
This is the infamous black book.
Infamous black book. Talking of which.
Oh, important. Please. This is
Hello.
weird. This is weird.
Yes, it is, mate. Give it a rough trim down to size. I don't like that at all. You'll have to forgive me, everything's extremely hard to film here. I don't even know if I could set the camera up. Let's see how we get on. Yeah, it's going to sit there needs over pressing somehow. That will work. So the plan is, the roof liner comes along there. I'm going to bolt it through there. I'm going to make a spreader plate for the inside, and then that has got a clip on there. So how it works, the top tabs are fixed, and then the bottom ones are sprung loaded to clip round it. So I already got a black mark on there. I must have done that earlier where I want to cut it. I want to centralise it out there, there, there. I'll talk through it once I've got it marked out what I'm doing. So, this is what I've got. So, that clip on the top there, that's cut out, and that spring loaded one will pull down and go on like that. That will then go on there. I'll come back when that's all cut out, cleaned up, drilled, and then I'll DA it, got to paint it as well, so I'll probably show you that bit of it. You see the marking out I've done, so I've cut that, used a jigsaw, cut around what I could, cleaned it up, so that will technically be clipped on there. That hole is for that cable to go through, and then them holes there are where it bolts up to the roof lining. Also made what have I also made? Sandwich plate. So this will slip inside the roof lining, and then the bracket will sit underneath. That just helps support, take the weight of it all. I'm there going to spray this black stealthy in it, and I don't want it to stand out like a sore thumb, so I'll go ultimate stealth mode. Got the safety respirator on. Take that off. You DA it to key the surface up for the paint to stick to. It's effectively putting loads of little tiny minute scratches all over it, so it's not a flat smooth surface. I've double taped that up now because I didn't want paint underneath because the tape could come off the paint. So I've stuck that on, and that comes off to make it sticky. So after I painted it, just before I put it on, I'll peel that off. Now I'm wiping it with panel wipe, just to get all the dust off. Give the can a good shake up, and then just I'll hang that there. And while we're waiting for that to dry, I think I can be stripping a bit of the roof lining out for the camera cable to go through, so I can get that into the bit I need it to. Get that to the bit. I'm getting the hang of this talking malarkey. Sometimes I say stuff and I think that just doesn't make sense. Back in here, monitor's going to hang there. The cable, I believe, I put through and it's all curled up there, so I've got to take that off, probably undo that top, and I'll be able to get to the cable, and then I'll be able to feed it inside the roof lining all the way around to here. That's where I've got to come to. Sorted. This cable here comes from the camera at the back, plugs in there. Black needs to go to earth. I believe green goes to this purple. As today has been a very random day, put me a bit out of sorts in a way. Had a plan. I know I really want to get that fire truck done as soon as possible. Just want to get it done, get it out. Got so many other projects on the go. And while I'm talking to you, I'm going to be just doing a bit of wiring here. However, I've got a load of wiring to do on that fire engine I want to film, so I don't want to saturate my content with wiring. So I thought, story time. Let me give you all a bit of background into me and where my working career in the truck industry started. I started off as a commercial vehicle bodybuilder in 1997. Yes, I'm old. I was 15 years old, left school, started an apprenticeship on £1 an hour, 40 hours a week, £40 a week. That was not a good wage by any means, but I had to do it. Needs must. So I cracked on with it. And I worked there up until 2003. So I worked my way up from an apprentice all the way up to body shop supervisor. Early 2003, I left there. I wanted to learn more about the engineering fabrication side, and what convinced me I needed to go work at an engineering firm. The bloke who had trained me up, we was making some steel rings for a gas bowl for a brewery truck, and we had to roll the rings. So back then you didn't buy nothing, you just made everything yourself. So you had a bit of steel flat, put it in a roller, electric roller, and it rolled it round. So I said to him, how do you know what length flat you need to make the circumference? Which he replied, I ain't got a clue, I'll just wing it and then I'll cut it to suit afterwards. So I thought, oh okay. And then when we was making beaver tails, to get the angle, I said, how do you know? Now bear in mind I was quite young at this stage, but I like to know as much as possible about the job. If I do a job, I want to do it to the best of my ability. So I'll research the hell out of it. I'll do everything I possibly can. So back then, internet wasn't as big as it is nowadays. So researching, I just used to ask a lot of questions. Point of I probably annoyed a few people, but I was learning, and every day is a school day. So on a beaver tail, when you cut your angle, you cut a wedge out, and I said, how do you know what angle you cut the wedge at? And his response to me was, you just keep slicing a bit out at a time, and then eventually it looks right, and then that will do. Now, I didn't agree with that method. I said, well, surely there's a proper way of working that out. He said, oh yeah, there is, I just don't know it. So that there tells me he was someone that was scared to ask questions. Now, if it involves learning, I'm not scared to ask them questions. I need to know them answers. So I went to an engineering company and I got a job there. It was quite amusing. I actually had a month out of work because I needed a rest. I'd been working a lot of hours, so I'd been working 6 in the morning till 9 at night, 6 days a week for a few years. I'd become a dad at a very young age. I was 17 when I became a dad. Don't do what I've done. I have no regrets about it. However, financially I wasn't in a place, so I had to work a lot of overtime to be able to afford to make sure my kids were all right, well, child at the time. With that being said, I was tired, so I had a month off work. Once I had a month off work, I thought, right, I better go find a job now at an engineering firm. So I looked through my local Wednesday paper. I see a company advertising, an engineering firm. So I give my phone, and it that very engineering firm is the place I'd done work experience when I was 14 years old. I thought, perfect. I knew what the place was like. I liked the people there at the time. When I was 14, they didn't let me do much, but I enjoyed what I did do there. I phoned them up. They got me in for an interview that very day. The interview went extremely well. They offered me a job there and then, said, can you start tomorrow? I think this was on a Wednesday. So I started on a Thursday morning, very next day. I was there till 2010 and I learned a lot. And I mean a lot. I'm so pleased that I went and done that, because that gave me... Now bear in mind, I mean the welding side, on my college, on my work experience, I didn't enjoy my school, I didn't enjoy my college. What really bothered me about the college side of things was you wasn't allowed to use a disc cutter, you weren't allowed to use a grinder, you had to use a file. So they had me oxyacetylene cut a plate, spend 2 hours with a file, filing it so it's clean enough to weld, and they didn't even use steel MIG welders at college. They were still on the stick welders. Yet all my welding at my job was steel MIG welding. So I instantly thought, well, this is a waste of time. I'm not going to learn nothing here. So, sorry, I'm waffling on quite a bit here, but I don't know what I do because my monitor's not working. Just need to check something else while I think about it. Just got to check something. Okay. I think there's a good possibility I got a dud screen. Got all power going to it, but the screen's not even lighting up, so my monitor's not working. I think I've got a dud monitor. Why am I not surprised? When it was time for me to learn how to steel weld, he told me to go to the guillotine. Bear in mind, probably at this point I'd probably just 16. Give me a quick safety briefing. Don't put your hands in there because you'll chop your fingers off. Cut a load of steel plates up, boxes and boxes of steel plates, about 100 by 100 mil, and put them all on the bench at the back of the workshop. Turned the welder on, turned the gas on. He said, right, weld it up. I said, okay, how do you weld? He said, you'll figure it out. And he went off, carried on with his job. So I thought, well, this is going to be great. Didn't enjoy myself that day. Me being me, thought, well, there's only one way to find out. I'll try it. So I tried it, and it was the worst weld I'd ever seen in my life at that point. Took it over to him. He said, that's no good. I said, right, what makes it better then? He said, you'll work it out. And I was like, oh, great. So I went back, didn't know what any settings done on a welder, didn't know. I had the gas on, that was the main thing, gas and electric on. Done a load of welds without adjusting any knobs. Went over to him, he went, still no good. So I was getting a bit agitated, we'd use that word. I was only 16 though, so I was quite young, but within myself I was getting agitated. It felt like the bloke didn't want me there, had no interest in training me whatsoever, didn't care about showing me how it should be done. With that, I went back to the bench angry. I'd say angry, so I was trying to weld angry, but it gave me the courage to change a setting on a welder. And I'd done another weld and I took it over to him, and he said, instead of saying that's no good, he said, that's too hot. So I said, oh, how do you sort that out then? And he said, you'll work it out. Just played around with the settings till I went back to him, and he said, that's too cold. So I thought, right, it was too hot there, it was too cold there. I've got to look in the middle. So I was playing around with the settings, and after going backwards and forwards with him for quite some time, bear in mind this went on for probably 4 or 5 days, I took him a piece and he looked at it and went, getting better. So that was a great indication. That was all I needed to hear. I was going in the right direction. What I didn't realise at the time as a 16-year-old, as where I thought that bloke was being an absolute, I don't know whether he's intentionally doing it or not, but he actually taught me the best way of teaching someone how to weld, and that was what by giving me the bare minimum information. And I say that because I've taught people how to weld, and I can teach people how to do a half tidy weld within 20 minutes, half an hour. But teaching someone to set up a welder is a lot longer, and I mean a lot longer. Now, I could set the welder up then because I knew exactly what I needed to do to make it hotter, to make it go colder, whatever. I just knew it. So I was quite grateful in the end. I've tried that approach with people I've taught, but people get angry too easy nowadays. Rather than keep my mouth shut and go, if I want to learn this, I'm not going to stop till I do know it. That was my mindset. I'm going to be a welder. I don't care if he's not interested in teaching me, I will work it out how to weld. It's that simple. Someone was paying me a wage, although it wasn't a lot of money, they're still paying me to learn how to weld. So I was going to learn how to weld. And I take that approach in everything I do. People say, how do you know how to do this? How do you know? If I don't know how to do something, I will research the hell out of it until I do know how to do it. And then obviously you can't always trust everything you read on the internet or see, so I tend to take a group of articles or a group of videos and see what the common facts are in that, and then take that as probably being the higher chance of being correct. Quite sad really, but very passionate about my work, very passionate about trucks. I've always worked on them all my life. It got a bit tricky at my last place where I worked, but I've got the passion back again. It's fun. So anyway, fast forward from the point of learning how to weld, I just wanted you to know that side of it. So there I was at college for a year, and then the college come to my work at the time, and they sat me and my boss down and said, gonna be honest, he's only just got through the course by the skin of his teeth. The practical side of it, spot on. The theory side of it, didn't have any interest whatsoever. But it's because in my mind they was teaching me wrong. So they was teaching me how to gas cut a bit of plate, spend hours cleaning up with a file before I then stick welded it. Yet I was going to work, hanging off ladders, welding on rusty metal which was using a grinder to clean it all up, and I was using a MIG welder. So in my head the college wasn't really teaching me the skills I needed for that job. So I devote myself to the job. That is my job. I want to do that to the best of my ability. I felt at the time the college wasn't giving me the best skills for that job. So after a year, I passed my first year course, and my boss at the time said, look, would you consider coming with us full time rather than being on apprenticeship? With that, I said, yes, please. And then made myself up for him. So I was in the steel tipper welding department. Then I went through, well, it's steel tippers and repair service shop. So trailer repairs, but mainly steel tippers on from 3.5 tonners, well, now 7.5 tonners, all the way up to big bulker tippers, steel ones, making them. And then I moved up into the body shop. I wanted to go to building box bodies, curtain siders, beaver tails, all that sort of stuff. So my aim was, I started at the bottom. I wanted to work through every department I could, so I knew everything. So back then, to become a fully skilled bodybuilder, I would say you needed 4 to 5 years solid learning and working your way through the business. Before you use class as fully skilled, you'd worked on enough bodies to know exactly. Nowadays, it's changed. How they look at it's a bit different. You know, they've tried building it like Meccano. They're not as robust, the bodies. You know, the bodies we used to build were to last the lifetime of the chassis. Now they just last the lifetime of a warranty, and then that's it. So then, yeah, 2003, I moved on, went to the engineering company. I'm so grateful I did. That all went to plan. I learned so much from there. And then 2010, I wanted to get back in the HGV game. So 2010, I'd done my class 2 license, so I could drive HGV. I was banger racing at the time. it was handy for me because I had a lorry for the racing. Once past that, I got a job with my now ex-employer, and I was in heavy haulage department, building heavy haulage trucks. So fitting the fifth wheels, lockers at the back of the car, the alley wings / mud guards, stinger plates, run up ramps, used to do all that sort of stuff. Built that department up, and then I moved across into the bodybuilding section again, and I was running that. And then I've come out of there and I've come over to HQ, where I just want to do everything as much as I possibly can. But me personally, as a worker, I want to do as much as I can. So I'll look at a job and think that's not a nice job, but I still want to do it because it's just how I am. You know, if someone needs a job doing, might as well be the man to do it. Welcome back. You rejoin me the next day, and today I'm hoping to have a better day than I did yesterday. So I'm walking around with a reverse camera monitor. I got home last night and the day had took its toll on me. I weren't feeling my best, and it really does bother me when I don't feel like I've had a productive day at all. This YouTube thing, a lot more goes on behind the scenes than you probably realise. And even though I've been around it in the background, I didn't quite realise, because it wasn't my problem at the time, what happened. So I want to remain consistent for you lot. I want to upload once a week, so I have to schedule my works in accordingly to that. So to do that, I needed to get the chassis rails welded back on there. I was going to call that probably it for that episode, and then it would have been just the rebuild, stripping off of the old one, putting on the new one, get the body on, happy days. Nice few episodes, job's done. However, for me to do that, I need cross members. So I can't do that. So now that's going to throw, well, it has, it's thrown me. And yesterday I just thought I'll try and just give you a bit of my day, but nothing happened in my day really. It wasn't anything exciting for you. I had a bit of wiring on this camera and then that wasn't working anyway. I'm going to double check it, make sure it's not the wiring, the power in the van, because I did notice when I was testing it last night, it was only testing at 11 volts, not 12. But so I'm going to try it on a charged up battery in here, do a direct feed off the battery. This is a big priority of mine. I want to get this finished. Now I know projects around here seem to take forever, but I take my role of dealing with this workshop very seriously. So obviously I've got to do this in between paid jobs coming in, which I'm not daft. That is going to be very hard to manage, but like I said, I am prepared to get labour in as and when needed to help out. I've got enough contacts in the game to know different people have got their strengths, so I do set my standard very high for people though, very high. I just want to make sure whatever goes out this door is to the best quality possible. I've come in and I've been thinking the whole way here, what's my plan? Still none the wiser. But I do have to strip all this down, I have to gas cut all the rivets out, get that axle out there, but I haven't got the forklift at the minute. So that's proving quite tricky to do. I've got to finish drilling these holes in this chassis for the spring hanger, 4 points, and then that's about all I can do with that as well. This workshop needs a good tidy. Look at the state of this workshop. I want to pull everything out of here. I want my steel welding bay, that's always going to be there. My alley welding bay is always going to be there. This was going to be for machines, guillotine, press, whatever. But at the minute, it's not. We're on a bare mezzanine floor at the top, so we can then store Put a truck sim up there if we want, silver cab up there if we want, blue cab up there if we want. So gets all that up high out the way to free up room. We've got Kyle's chassis here. I hold my hands up. I've been very messy with the bits off the fire truck. However, in my defence, do want the 4 Series chassis down. Work on that will be after the Volvo FHV8, I feel. I think all I've got to do, there's a ABS ring that goes on the end of the axle. I've got to change that. I think that's ready for paint shop, so the paint shop can paint that. But as we can see, paint shop seems to be a bottleneck with stuff that needs painting. Engine is almost ready for paint. I believe we just need that fit in there, which we're struggling to get hold of, and then that can go paint as well. Gearbox that go paint. I think we actually need a new crankshaft seal in the back there, if I remember rightly. Did put a new one in. Did seal it in there, but seemed to continue to leak, so I don't know whether it's a faulty seal or fitted incorrectly. We got another one in stock, so that flywheel once taken off and then that putting on. Spoke to someone about decaling, there you go, got there in the end. Decaling this yesterday. I sent him over what I'd like, waiting for him to come back to me with his design. You'll have to let me know in the comments, am I just waffling on too much for the sake of it? What my thought process is, I'm just telling you everything I'm trying to do through a day and show you the struggles. It's not all great on YouTube all the time. Like I say, my plan for what I was scheduling for content has gone right out the window, so that's left me going try and do what I can. But let me know in the comments any ideas. You know, are you alright with me waffling on, or would you rather I just didn't bother filming and then wait till cross members did come in for the fire engine and carry on so it follows in sequence? Let me know. Right, I've got my setup for testing my monitor all done. So I've got a 12 volt battery there, jump lead, red on the live, black on the negative. They come up to here. So I've tested this, I know I've got 12 volts. And then what I'm planning on doing, so on the monitor, this is the cable off the monitor, I believe black is your earth, red is your permanent live if you want it on permanently live, or green I believe is your reverse feed, so it only comes on when you put it in reverse. So I will be using the green and the black, but I will test the red and the green just to make sure they're both working. On the red, on the black, we've got exactly 12 volts on the button. Because it's not plugged in there, I'm looking for a blue screen that says no signal, black on there, red on there. I can see movement on that screen. Let me just clip that in there so I free a hand up. Oh, it's looking positive. There you go. Blue screen, no signal. So that is working. So let me try the green. Interesting. Interesting. Car back. It says car back on the screen. So maybe you have to join the green and the red together if that's the case. It tells me that if you just want reverse feed, you don't wire up the red and you just wire the green up. Clearly that's incorrect. quality. Bring my electrical box with us. Good old Flex stacker pack. Very handy. Makes a nice electrical box for me. Right, I've got the monitor wired in. Look at that. So what I've done, the black I've teed into the earth on the interior lights, and then the red and green what I showed you inside, I've joined them together, and then that takes a live from the cable here. They have it so it's got a red wire come out, so that is right up the other end. That's linked into the reverse light, so rather than running another cable down, you have that one, so the power's taken out of there. So I wonder if linking the green wire and the red wire together has made a difference. Let's have a look. Switch the ignition on. Nothing. Sticker in reverse. And oh, there you go. Well, it's not the best quality image, but regardless, that's actually exactly what I wanted, so that'd be mounted up there. Excellent. Well, so it turns out, as long as you don't look at the wiring instructions they send, it should work. That was crazy. I can get my bracket, bolt my bracket up, fix my screen on, neaten all that wire up, pop it back in, happy days. I do like to put a bit of tape around here just so there's no interference with anything, so that reduces that chance. So I shall do that, and then once I'm up and running I will come back to you. Ignition on, sticker in reverse, and she's on. Let's say it's definitely not a 4K image, however it is a lot better than what I could see before. It does look very blue on the camera, but it's not in person. But I can see the back door there, the badge, back of the bumper, and then quite a way back, I'd say a good 20-30 foot back there. Quite happy with that one. Right, reverse, straight off. Excellent, that's what we wanted. So after all of that, turns out just don't follow the wiring instructions and it'll be fine. All sorted now. I did just speak to Tim, and he said the cross members for the fire truck may be ready today for me for collection. So I'm now going to phone him up and see if they're ready, if he's got them out yet. If he has, I'll pick them up and then I can get cracking again. I'll make a phone call, see how I get on, and I'll let you know. Well, it's happened again. It just goes to show that plans always go awry. So can't go get the cross members now because they won't be available till next week, so it's gone back to that. So I'll go probably after the weekend, and chances are he hasn't got the right cross members. He thinks he's only got the one for the shock absorber, so that's that one. He doesn't think he's got that one or that one. So that puts me in a big predicament again. What do we do there? So just want a quick look on this 4 Series chassis. Yeah, it's the same as that one up there, but that's it. So even if he has got one, or the right one, he's only going to have one. So the other option is if we can get them